Hey everyone, Combo here, back with another Empires and Puzzles video, and today I'm going to talk about who I believe to be the 20 best healers in the game. This is not a specific color ranking video, we're just going to talk about the 20 best healers in the game right now, or who I believe to be those. And there are a ton of good healers. I am not just using the 20 most recently released healers. In order to be on this list, you do have to have healing as a primary function of your ability though. I'm not just going to put somebody like Song Jiang, who heals himself and nearby allies for a certain percentage of the damage dealt, or Gander, who does the same thing. The heroes on this list will be healers as their primary function, and I'm using the Mpuzzled website for this. I used their tier maker listing function, which I highly recommend doing if you are into doing these types of things. But I'm going to go through my healers one by one, starting at number 20 all the way up to number 1, and then I'll show you what the full image of my ranking is. And I always give a disclaimer that these 20 heroes I'm going to talk about today are just who I believe to be the best heroes in the game or healers in the game. I've got a lot of experience with some of them, either playing with them or going up against them or watching videos with alliance mates or other people using them. So I've got a pretty good grasp of who the best healers in the game are right now, and I am in a top 10 to 25 alliance, so we go up against the toughest defenses in the game. So I feel like I've got a pretty good perspective on who the best healers are. All right, without further ado, let's get into this ranking. And starting out at number 20, I've got Noelle from the Winter family. Noelle is fast mana speed, boosts the health of all allies by 760, gives an enhanced dodge effect where all allies get plus 50% chance to dodge special skills that deal damage. This effect lasts until the ally successfully dodges once. After the enhanced dodge ends or is removed or replaced, the ally gets a Snow Sprite minion. The Snow Sprite minion has 20% health and 20% attack inherited from the caster. And if I scroll down to the family bonus or passive here, you can see each hit from the minions owned by this character inflicts 484 frost damage over 4 turns. So it's only for Noelle that will give that, but the minions will give that frost damage. And then you can see the family bonus depending if you have 2 or 3 unique family members. There's extra health and attack to the minions. But a big reason I like Noelle is because of the fact that he's fast mana speed. He's monk class, so he's going to get his special in just 7 tiles if you have a matching legendary troop, because you need 15% mana generation in order to go from 8 tiles to 7 tiles for a fast speed hero. You get 11% from the legendary troop and then 4% from the monk talent node, which only exists for monk, sorcerer, and druid. All the other classes get 2%. So definitely very useful for the quick boosted health, the enhanced dodge, the minions. Pretty useful hero. Next up at number 19, we are sticking with the dark purple healers. Oh, actually, I want to talk about a stat that I found interesting. So out of these 20 healers, there are only 2 blue healers that I'm going to have. There will be 3 yellow, 4 red, 4 purple, and 7 green healers. There is a lot of really good green healers, and some of them quite high on this list. All right, back to Duelfiller. She is fast mana speed, recovers 30% health for all allies. All allies get a Firestorm ward for 4 turns that reduces incoming special skill damage by up to minus 1300, reduces damage by additional 30% when the attacker is of the nature element, and all allies are immune to new status ailments for 4 turns. If I scroll down, she's also got the Molten Core, which gets charged each time the character receives damage from normal attacks or special skills, and that Molten Core is going to give, let's see here, 308 burn damage and lowers the target's defense by minus 12% each turn. That does go higher as you increase Duelfiller's attack stat. This is just the base Molten Core, I believe. And I actually just went and looked at my version of Duelfiller that I've got at 90.25, and I went the defense and health path, and it was 392 burn damage. That does actually even go up higher when you put the troop and add the higher attack stat because of the troop. But Duelfiller is a very good support hero because of the healing, the Firestorm ward, and the ailment immunity. So she does 3 really useful things, and then the Molten Core actually gives damage, so she can heal and give damage, which I think is useful. She does not have the costume yet, but the Untold Tales 2 costumes are coming out. There is one for Region, and then Gander just got one. So I'm expecting Duelfiller to probably get a costume either next month or the month after, probably, since she was one of the earlier heroes that came out for Untold Tales 2. Right now, she gets her special in 8 tiles because she's got the Cleric class. Once she gets the costume bonus, she will get her special in 7 tiles, which will make her even more useful. Moving on to number 17. Just kidding. kidding. I forgot how to count. Number 18, we've got Revna, who is our first fire hero. She is fast mana speed, safely cleanses one status ailment from all allies, recovers 35% health for all allies, and all allies reflect status ailments, negative stacks, and wither effects to a random character on the opposing team for 4 turns. Revna is a great healer. Love safely cleansing healers, although I wish it wasn't just one. And the reflecting of status ailments, negative stacks, and wither effects can definitely be very useful. You just have to make sure you're using that against the right enemies. And fun fact about Revna, if you pair her with somebody like Li Q, who has Taunt, if you use those two against Bernadette, and if you fire them together and then Bernadette goes off, the special from Bernie is only going to dispel the reflect from Li Q because he's got the Taunt, and then it will turn him into a painting, but the other 4 allies, including Revna, will reflect the painting back to a random enemy on the opposing team. So that's a strategy I've been using recently. If you've got Revna and Li Q, definitely try them out. Obviously, she's going to work better with a red taunter. That way, they're naturally going to fire their specials at the same time. So I wouldn't necessarily recommend Revna with a different color taunter, because then you have to get all those tiles before Bernadette does. But very good healer, safely cleanses 1, and she's got that reflect as well. Next up at number 17, we've got Malena. I do have her costume version, which is the cleric class. She's got 2 different charges. The first charge comes in at only 5 tiles, and that is one of the reasons she is so useful, because she doesn't have a lot to her first charge for her special. She's going to recover 26% health for all allies, cleanses status ailments from all allies, so she's going to cleanse all status ailments. Does not safely cleanse though, so just keep that in mind. You probably don't want to use her against moths and the moth dust, because then you're just going to be putting your heroes to sleep. And then the second mana charge, which comes in at like 13 tiles, I think. It's pretty high though, or maybe 12. She is going to deal 440% damage to all enemies. All enemies receive 480 frost damage over 5 turns, and dispels buffs from all enemies. I do wish the dispel came in first, but depending on how you want to use Malena, either as a healer or as an attacker, you can choose that depending on how the battle is going. She does also have a very useful passive when you get the costume, and that is the weaker mega minions. Enemy mega minions have minus 75% health. She's also got the mana on special passive. When this character casts their special skill, they have a 60% chance to give 10% mana to all allies. If the special skill is fully charged, the chance is 100%. So that is definitely very nice. And then she's also got the stack that she gives as part of the Magic Tower family. Depending if you have 1, 2, or 3 unique family members on your team, she'll have a 50, 75, or 100% chance to cast plus 5% mana generation stack on a random ally when this hero casts their special skill. That has a max of 10 for a stack. Coming in at number 16, I've got Ott, who is our first nature healer. He is fast mana speed, and I do have the costume version here. He's going to boost health of all allies by 800. Boosted health can exceed max HP. All allies get a Firestorm ward for 3 turns that reduces incoming special skill damage by up to minus 1280, reduces damage by additional 30% when the attacker is of the nature element, and all allies are immune to buff dispels and reallocations for 3 turns. And then he's going to have that same Molten Core passive, and then the passive where if you try to attempt Molten Core or burn damage on him, then he's going to gain boosted health. Yeah, this character is immune to status ailments that deal burn damage and gain 600 boosted health and 10% mana each time they resist. So love the fact that he's fast mana speed. Again, he's going to get his special in 7 tiles. He already would have gotten it even before the costume bonus because he was a monk class, but 800 boosted health for just 7 tiles is pretty good. And the Firestorm ward and making buffs undispellable and not able to be reallocated definitely can be very useful, especially that last part when you use that with the right hero or right heroes that give the right buffs. Coming in at number 15, I've got Toxicandra from the villain family. She is fast mana speed, recovers 30% health for all allies. All allies receive a moderate amount of mana over 3 turns, and she's going to cleanse status ailments from all allies. I do wish that last part was a safely cleanse, but this is actually the original version of Toxicandra. There is the costume version, which is a druid class that gives boosted health. Personally, I like the higher heal with the percentage heal, and the cleric class where she'll have a chance to resist silence and some other effects that prevent the use of special skills. Either way, she's going to get her special in 7 tiles. You can get her special in 6 tiles if you use the druid and have a bard on your team, because you need 34% increased mana generation to get a fast speed hero down to 6 tiles. You would have to use one of the mana troops that gives 20% mana, so you would not be able to use a legendary troop on her, but the 20% mana from the troop, 5% from the costume bonus, 5% from the bard, and then 4% from the druid class. So you would have to use the costume. That would all give you 34% mana generation, which would get her special in 6 tiles. So something to be aware of. I do that sometimes. It's been a little while since I have done that. Typically, I like to use the 7-tile version of her as a cleric with a legendary troop so that she's a little bit stronger, but definitely something worth keeping in mind. And then she's got the defense up ether power, which is also very useful considering the fact that she is a defensive hero. And then if you have her costume, she's also going to have this passive where she's going to cast a curse on all enemies when she casts her special skill. So when this character casts their special skill, all enemies receive 461 curse damage over 4 turns, starting low and increasing every turn. So she's going to deal damage on top of healing. It says special armor for the ether power on the bottom, but is defense up. The special armor is for her druid class, which I had to click on the website to show the passive, but you definitely get the passive on the cleric version also once you get the costume. Next up at number 14, I've got Fungusine, another green nature healer. Average mana speed is going to boost health of all allies by 1250. Boosted health can exceed max HP. All allies get sticky surface for 4 turns. This effect cannot be dispelled. Sticky surface steals 1 random dispellable buff or growth effect from an attacking enemy. And then all allies get plus 30% defense for 4 turns. And all allies are immune to buff dispels and reallocations for 4 turns. Fungusine does a lot between the boosted health, the sticky surface, the defense up, and making all buffs undispellable for 4 turns. Definitely a very useful healer, and Fungusine is also going to have the passives where if you hit Fungusine for more than 50 or 25% damage, then she's going to get 50% health and 40% attack for a mega minion. And if she dies, then the nearby allies are going to get that same mega minion. All slime heroes obviously have those passives, and we may or may not have another slime healer on this list. Next up at number 13, I've got Bramble, and he is definitely somebody I wanted to have higher on this list. There are just so many good healers in the game right now, but his average mana speed is going to recover 50% health for all allies, recovers 50% health. Just kidding, I already said that. All allies get 25% mana after 3 turns, or immediately if the effect is removed before the duration ends, and safely cleanses status ailments from all allies. That last part is honestly one of the ways I use Bramble the most nowadays because of that, and the fact that he's going to resist all negative mana ailments, instant mana reduction, and moth dust if you have at least one other woodland fawn on your team. If you've got at least 2 of them, then both of them will have a 100% chance to resist all 3 of those effects, and they will gain mana every time something is resisted or rather attempted on them. He is also going to resist insanity being a woodland fawn. That's part of their passives as well. Bramble is a very useful healer. Next up at number 12, I've got Rose de Flo, our first red fire healer. Just kidding, we had Revna earlier. How could I forget? So Rose de Flo is very fast mana speed, and the Beauty and the Beast family has this thing where they've got 2 different specials depending if they have a certain amount of humility. If they don't have at least 50 humility, then she's going to recover 20% health for all allies, cleanses 1 status ailment from all allies, gives a growth effect where all allies get 100 attack, and all allies regenerate 900 health over 3 turns. If she has at least 50 humility or more, then she's going to recover 30% health for all allies, cleanses status ailments from all allies, gives 150 growth attack for all allies. All allies will regenerate 1440 health over 3 turns, and the caster gets plus 74% defense against special skills for 3 turns. And here is the chart, so to speak, on how they gain humility. Depending if you have 1, 2, or 3 unique family members, she will gain 15, 17, or 20 humility when receiving direct damage from special skills, and she'll gain 20, 22, or 25 humility when receiving direct healing from special skills. The direct damage from special skills is a little interesting because normally you would put your healers on the ends so they have a less likely chance to be hit by attack 3 hitters from the opposing side, but I guess you would kind of want to have her in the middle so that she actually has a higher chance, so it increases her humility. I don't know, I don't actually have her, but definitely something to take into consideration. And then another very useful passive that she has, which all of the Beauty and the Beast family members have, is the all enemies have minus 80% health when revived. It doesn't affect bosses in regular stages, but that's not why it's useful. It's going to be extremely useful against the Wildcat family because they will still revive if they were going to anyway, but they're going to have minus 80% health instead, which is going to make it much easier to kill them a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, or ninth time. Moving on to number 11, we have another very fast speed mana healer with Amelia. She is going to recover 26% health for all allies, dispels 1 buff from all enemies. All allies except the caster get plus 34% chance to dodge special skills for 3 turns. Each dodge gives a plus 27% attack stack at a max of 10. And then she's got some very good passives as well. The first is the Transform Ailments. Each time this character casts their special skill, all cleansable status ailments affecting attack, defense, and mana generation on all allies are transformed into matching undispellable buffs. Attack status ailments are transformed into plus 40% attack buffs for 3 turns. Defense goes to plus 40% defense, and mana generation status ailments, which includes Moth Dust, goes to plus 40% mana generation. And being very fast mana speed herself, she's going to get her special in 6 tiles. She's also got the Flight Momentum, which increases mana generation depending on how much flight momentum she has, and then also extra chance to dodge as well. And then she's also got the Weaker Mega Minions passive as well, where all enemy Mega Minions have minus 75% health. I have Amelia, and she is very fun to use considering she gets her special in just 6 tiles. Her heal isn't that high, but she can also be useful as a dispeller as well, even though it's only 1. The dodge is useful, the Transforming Ailments is useful, the Weaker Mega Minions are useful, and she's got really good stats, obviously being a pretty new healer. All right, we are on to number 10, and cracking the top 10 is my girl Hathor. I do have the Cleric version in here, which I typically use more than the Sorcerer. The Sorcerer does give straight up boosted health rather than boosted health over time, but it is, let me go over to it. It's going to be 480 boosted health for the Sorcerer version rather than the Cleric version, which is the costume, which is 640 boosted health over 4 turns. But by the 3rd turn, you've already gotten the boosted health that you would have gotten instantaneously, which is really not a lot anyway. You're actually going to get more boosted health from her passive with the 10% boosted health on top of it. But I like the Cleric class version better because it's going to have a chance to resist silence and then any other special skills that prevent the use of special skill, or rather ailments that prevent the use of special skills, sorry. This version of her also has the defense up ether power. Again, she's fast mana speed. With the costume, she will get her special in 7 tiles. And then she also gives all allies immunity to status ailments for 4 turns when she does go off. And then she's got a bunch of passives and the family bonus. So for the Moon family bonus, she's going to have a 50 or 75% chance to cast minus 24% defense for 2 turns and 196 water damage over 2 turns to an enemy who deals special skill damage to this character. If the enemy's special skill defeats this character, then it is 75 or 100%, depending if you have 1 or 2 unique family members. And then she's got the effects on special skill. It says 50% chance, but it is a 100% chance, which you can see in the second passive, the guaranteed effect on special skill. When you get the costume, you get that 100% chance, and that is going to boost health of all allies by 10%, and all allies gain a small amount of mana. That small amount of mana is actually a pretty decent amount. I was mentioning earlier with Toxicandra, if you use her Druid version, then you can get her special in 6 tiles with a 20% mana troop and with a Bard. That goes the same way for Hathor. If you use her Sorcerer version, so not the Cleric version, if you use her Sorcerer version with a 20% mana troop and a Bard, then she will get her special in 6 tiles. And if you use a few other red heroes that are fast mana speed that get their special in 7 tiles, that extra mana boost that she gives will make them 6-tiled heroes. I have done this multiple times with Regen, with Marjana, and with other fast speed heroes, and to get basically 4 specials at the same time if I'm using 3 attackers with her, that can definitely be a difference maker in a regular non-rush setting, getting your heroes specials in 6 tiles. And then she's also got the resist mana generation stopping. This character has an innate resistance against status ailments that affect stop mana generation. There's not really a lot of heroes in the game that give stop mana generation, but another useful thing in case if there is eventually. But great healer and support hero with the boosting of the mana. The ailment immunity obviously is very useful. Love my girl Hathor. Moving on to number 9, we're going to stick with the Season 5 family. I've got Cleopatra here. She is average mana speed, and I've got her cleric version for the similar reason I was talking about with Hathor and Toxicandra. I like the ability to have a chance to resist silencing and other ailments that prevent the use of special skills. But she's average mana speed, recovers 65% health for all allies. All allies are immune to new status ailments for 3 turns and recover 205 health per each attempted status ailment. If you are not going up against any heroes where having her cleric class would benefit, then I would recommend using the paladin version. That is a bit more of a defensive type of class, and she's got a higher defense and health stat. She does recover a little bit less healing. I think it's 60% health. Actually, let me go over to it. Yeah, it's 60% health instead of 65% health. You do get more healing from the attempted status ailments that get cast on her, but she has very good passives as well. The first is the Sun family bonus with the 50 or 75% chance to cast minus 35% accuracy for 2 turns and 196 burn damage over 2 turns. If the enemy is defeated by the special skill, then it's 75 or 100% chance. And then when you get her costume, she will have a 100% chance to boost health of all allies by 10%, and she will cleanse the latest cleansable status ailment from all allies. Very strong healer. She can single-handedly remove a Mega Fiend if the opposing team does not have a Fox to reduce the healing. But if anybody in your team has a Mega Fiend and she goes off, that Mega Fiend is going to be gone. Moving on to number 8, I've got Hygd. She is average mana speed, is going to cleanse status ailments from all allies, recovers 50% health for all allies, and then gives the source of buffs where the following effects are cast on all allies at the start of each turn, plus 40% defense against special skills for 2 turns, and plus 40% increased for all healing received for 2 turns. The source of buffs will activate 3 times. Each attempt to dispel it removes 1 activation. Now, most of these Beowulf family members that have the source of buffs, normally it's only for 1 ally or 1 enemy. This is definitely for all allies. I was lucky enough to pull Hygd. I haven't leveled her up yet, but I did test it out, and it definitely does go to all allies. So definitely something to be aware of for that. She's cleric class, so very good defensive type of class for her, and she's got the defense up ether power. The Beowulf family bonus is also extremely useful for both offense and for defense. So depending if you have 1 or 2 unique family members, she is going to have a 75 or 100% chance to cleanse a random cleansable status ailment from all allies when this character receives damage from an enemy special skill. This effect can activate only once per turn. So it's very common in higher level alliances to see Beowulf family members in the left flank position or the right flank position, depending on who you have, because if enemies are bringing attack 3 hitters and are trying to go after the tank, then it limits them to attacking just one side. And if they don't realize that if they're attacking the 3 in the middle, they could be cleansing an ailment. And if you were to use Hygd on offense, I would actually position her in the middle on the 3rd spot so that she had a higher chance of getting hit by attack 3 hitters so that she could cleanse extra ailments. Again, it's only going to happen once per turn, but definitely very useful on top of the fact that she's a cleanser and strong healer already. But great healer. Love the fact that she cleanses all. I do wish it was a safely cleansing, but I guess beggars can't be choosers. Strong heal with 50% healing to all allies, and that source of buffs, definitely no joke, honestly. Next up at number 7, I've got Sludges. Crazy that I've got a healer so old, honestly, and at number 7, but Sludges is just so useful. And I know it says 1405 shield, but I've got Sludges and she's got 1642 shield, which is still not like crazy high compared to the new defensive heroes that are coming out in the game right now. But she is just so useful. She's average mana speed. It's going to recover 50% health for all allies. All allies except the caster dance to the Dance of the Slimy for 4 turns. The Dance of the Slimy is going to give plus a 45% chance to dodge special skills. Each dodge damages the attacker for 1600 damage, and when the dance ends, the dancer recovers 700 health. And remember, if any of your heroes are dancing, they're not going to be able to get any ailments. They're also not going to get buffs as well. spell, but it's a nice way to basically cleanse ailments if you need to, or to prevent ailments. She's also got the regen ether power, and then she's going to have the same passive skills that we looked at with Fungustine, where if she gets hit for 25% or more damage, then she's going to get a mega minion with 50% health and 40% attack. And then if she dies, then her nearby allies will get a mega minion with that 50% health and 40% attack. So make sure that if you've got any of these slime heroes, even if they're healers, you want to make sure you put them in either the second, third, or fourth spots. That way, if they do die, two of your allies get that mega minion. Again, it's very common for people to put their healers on the ends. You don't want to do that with Sludges, or else if she dies, only one hero is going to get that mega minion. But I love Sludges. She is a very useful healer. You just want to make sure you don't use her with any heroes that give unique buffs, because you're not going to be able to use those if they are dancing, or if they have that buff, then the dancing is going to remove it. So definitely something to keep in mind with Sludges. Moving on to number 6, we've got Broseph from the Vigilant Vegetable family. He is fast mana speed, is going to recover 50% health for the caster and nearby allies, is going to uproot debuffs from the caster and nearby allies. I'll go over that in a moment and what that means. And then gives a growth effect where all allies get 125 attack and 125 defense. He's got the ailment immunity ether power, which is very useful. The druid class, which makes it so that he gets his special in just 7 tiles, being a fast speed hero. And then the uprooting debuffs makes it so that he safely removes 2 status ailments, negative stacks, or wither effects from each target. This includes uncleansable status ailments and dance effect. The caster receives 7% boosted health for each effect removed. Boosted health can exceed max HP, and the safely cleansing, of course, bypasses secondary effects. And also worth noting that wither effects are removed first. Other effects, the latest is removed first. He's also going to have the empowered resist special skill blocking, which all of the vegetables have right now. This character is immune to status ailments that prevent the use of special skills. They also gain 450 boosted health and 5% mana each time they resist. And then, of course, what makes him the most useful is being a seedling summoner, having that as a passive, which all the vegetables have. He is going to summon a seedling fiend every turn to a random enemy. The seedling fiend evolves into a sprout fiend after 2 turns. The sprout fiend evolves into a blossom mega fiend after 2 turns. The evolution of the fiends is delayed by 1 turn each time they absorb healing. That was something that was just added to the most recent update. But Broseph is a very good all-around hero. I wish the healing was to all, but if he dealt or gave 50% healing to all, plus all of the other stuff that he did, he definitely would be at least average speed, maybe even slow speed, honestly. And the fact that he's a druid class and can get his special in 7 tiles with the legendary troop, he is just so useful. I wish I had him. He's actually going to be featured in the Covenant portal on February 28th when that comes back in the game, or at least he's currently scheduled to be featured. That could change. Sometimes it changes. I hope I pull him in that. We'll have to wait and see. All right, let's move on to our top 5. And coming in at number 5, I've got Astrid, another healer that has been around the game for quite some time, definitely over a year. But she is a bard, is sorcerer class, average mana speed, is going to recover 50% health for all allies. Each defeated ally has a 40% chance to get revived with 30% health. And then all allies have a 20% chance to drop any received damage to 1 for 3 turns. She's also got the defense up ether power, which is very useful. And then one of the things that makes her the most useful is the fact that she's a bard, where all solo family members will get plus 5% mana generation. That is extremely useful for turning certain fast speed heroes into 7 tile heroes. So any fast speed hero that is not sorcerer, druid, or monk class, or has a costume bonus, they get their special in 8 tiles, because you need 15% mana generation for fast speed heroes to get to 7. Legendary troops give you 11%. If they have a costume, then they more than likely have a 5% mana generation increase. And if they're sorcerer, druid, or monk, they get 4% from their talent node. All the other 7 classes only give 2%, but Astrid would turn them into 7 tile heroes. And then I talked about a few other heroes earlier, like Toxicandra and Hather, who can get their special in 6 tiles if you use a 20% mana troop and either their sorcerer or druid class. Astrid would help them get their special in 6 tiles. She just has so many uses and different ways that you can put her on a team to benefit other heroes to reduce their tile counts. I wish I had 2 or 3 of her, honestly. That way I could have more heroes benefit from that. And then, of course, she also has the passive skill with the dancing, where all dance effects that all enemies cast only last for 1 turn. That counts for healing, or rather dancing that they cast on themselves or dancing that is cast on you. So thinking about Sludgist that we just looked at, or Guardian Gazelle, or Von Rothber, or any other heroes that cast a dancing effect, those dancing effects will only last for 1 turn. So if you've got Astrid on your defense, then that's something that your opponents need to take into consideration. And if they don't, then the dancing is only going to last for 1 turn, and they're probably going to be taken by surprise. Moving on to number 4, I've got another healer and reviver with Chitrangada. She is fast mana speed, recovers 20% health for all allies, has a growth boon where recovers 2 times, or rather 2x extra damage health for each point of modified defense. I'll go over that in a moment. And then each defeated ally has a 35% chance to get revived with 35% health. And then she's going to cleanse 1 status ailment from all allies. So she's going to gain growth every single turn as part of the Mahayota family, and she'll gain a minimum of 100 attack and defense growth. That second part of her special does have a maximum of 800 additional healing. So once she gets to 400 defense growth, then she's going to give 800 additional healing on top of the 20% health. So she turns into a pretty decent healer, and the fact that she's a reviver and cleanser for 1 ailment, I do wish it was a safely cleanse, but again, beggars can't be choosers. And then here are the details for the Mahayota family with the growth. Depending if you have 1, 2, or 3 unique family members, she's going to gain 100, 110, or 120 attack and defense growth every single turn. That does max out at 170% of her original value also, so definitely something to keep in mind there. And then she's also got the mana on damage received passive. So when this character receives direct damage from special skills or normal attacks, they're going to receive a small amount of mana, maximum of 10% mana gained per turn. And then she's also got the superior resist negative minion effects. This character is immune to incoming negative effects and damage from minions and mega minions. Chitrangada is a very good healer and reviver, hard to take down, especially when that defense growth stacks up. And if you're in a longer battle and don't have a way of removing growth, and if she's got like 13 to 1500 defense growth, she is not going to be receiving a lot of damage from your special skills. She can also be very annoying to take down with the fighter class. If she starts reviving, then that could definitely change things up a bit. And then she's got the dodge ether power, where she'll have a chance to dodge special skills for the first 6 turns as well. All right, moving on to the top 3, and these 3 I really feel like could be interchangeable for 1, 2, or 3. It really just depends on who you're going up against, or if you're putting them on your defense, who else is on your defense. But starting out at number 3, I have Ragrim. He is average mana speed, druid class, part of the Magic Carpet family, and he is going to first destroy all fiends from all allies. This effect damages mega fiends. He is then going to recover 65% health for the ally with the lowest remaining health. All other allies will recover 45% health. And then he's going to add a growth effect where all allies get 250 attack and 250 defense, and all ailments affecting attack, defense, and mana generation on all allies are transformed into matching undispellable buffs. I think this card image might have been chosen before the update because that went to a passive skill similar to what we looked at with Amelia earlier, but either way, he's still going to do that. He's also got the defense up ether power, so he'll get plus 20% defense at the start of each battle. And then he's also got the flight momentum and the weaker mega minions passive as well, where enemy mega minions have minus 75% health. I have Ragrim, and he has definitely bailed me out of a lot of battles because of the removing of fiends, which is very useful against the veggies, and then the high heal after that. So if I were to use somebody like Cleopatra, she's got a very strong heal, but she's not going to first remove the fiends, where Ragrim does that first, or at least removes half of a mega fiend and then heals on top of it, so they still get a decent heal. And I love the fact that he's got the growth for both attack and defense. He's just an all-around great support hero, and he's kind of a cleanser also with the transforming of ailments for attack, defense, and mana. Obviously he's not going to get rid of all ailments, but any of those he's going going to turn into matching undispellable buffs. Great hero. I've got a second one at 3.70 that I'm considering maxing out as well. You can never have enough veggie counters. And speaking of veggie counters, coming in at number 2, I've got Salome, who is another healer that is going to remove fiends. She is cleric class, part of the Astral Demon family, average mana speed. She will first destroy all fiends from all allies. This effect damages mega fiends, and then she's going to boost health of all allies by 1300. Boosted health can exceed max HP. At the end of each turn, all allies shoot an astral beam to a random enemy for 4 turns. The astral beam deals 200% damage, and it also reduces the max health of the hit enemy by 200. She's also got the regen ether power, so she'll regenerate, I think it's 420 health over 6 turns. Being part of the Astral Demon family, this is her passive, or family bonus rather. The character gains 3% or 6% mana when taking special skill damage. This effect can activate only once per turn. That's depending if you have 1 or 2 unique family members. And then she's also going to have a 60 or 85% chance to cleanse all status ailments from this character when receiving special skill damage. At the time that I'm recording this video, which is Saturday, February 21st, there is a bug where the cleansing of ailments is for the entire team. That is supposed to be updated with the next update, I believe. So that's not going to last, but for anybody watching the video shortly after Saturday, February 21st, something to keep in mind when you're building either your offenses or your defenses. And then she's also got the passives. First, for Hinder Mana, reduces the amount of mana increased by special skills, passive skills, family bonuses, and status effects by minus 80%. The effect applies to all enemies in battle. So if Salome is on a defense, you don't want to bring Hathor or Zestique or any other heroes that are going to instantly increase mana. And then she's also got the resist negative mana effects. This character is immune to mana reductions as well as status ailments and negative stacks that affect mana generation. Applies also to effects and status ailments that block or steal mana. So that's definitely nice that she can't get any of those status ailments or have her mana stolen or blocked. But she is a very fun hero to use. I've actually been enjoying using her as a single color hero in like a 3-1-1 setup. And if I'm having trouble getting my primary color for the 3 heroes that I have, if I can get Salome, she gives a decent heal, removes the fiends obviously, and then the astral beams do a pretty decent amount of damage. Definitely a lot of ways to use Salome, and I think somebody who will have a pretty lot of longevity in the game. But moving on to number 1, I have Freyawaru. Freyawaru can be one of the most annoying heroes to go up against because of her passives, which I'm going to take a look at in a moment, but she's average mana speed. She's going to first safely dispel status effect buffs from all enemies. She's then going to boost health of all allies by 1300. She then gives a source of ailments. The following effects are cast on a random enemy at the start of each turn. Minus 80% mana generation for 3 turns. Minus 60% defense against special skills for 3 turns. The source of ailments will activate 4 times. Each attempt to dispel it removes 1 activation. She's also part of the Beowulf family, paladin class, has the Bulwark ether power, so she starts with, I think, plus 15% defense, and then it goes up by plus 1% each time she's hit. And she's going to have the same family bonus as Higd that we looked at earlier, where depending if you have 1 or 2 unique family members, she's going to have a 75 or 100% chance to cleanse a random cleansable status ailment from all allies when this character receives damage from an enemy special skill. This effect can activate only once per turn. And then the passives. Mana per enemy buff. Gains a small amount of mana for every active status effect buff that the enemy team has at the start of each turn, with a maximum of 20 buffs. 20 buffs! I've seen her get almost fully charged from nothing because of this passive. It is crazy how quickly she gets mana at the start of the battle because of all the ether power buffs that the enemy team has. I don't have Freyawaru, but she can be very annoying to go up against if you don't plan for that, because you're basically planning on her going off no matter what within the first few turns, even if you don't hit her with any tiles to increase her mana. And if you tried to reduce her mana, she's got the Empowered Resist mana reduction passive as well. This character has innate resistance against mana reductions. They also gain 600 boosted health and 10% mana each time they resist. And she's got the resist buff blocking passive. This character is immune to effects that would block them from receiving new status effect buffs. When smart Small Giant created Freyawaru. They basically created the ultimate healer and support hero. She's got the Dispel that she gives off first. She boosts health for everybody. She gives that source of ailments. She has a 75% chance to cleanse if she's hit with a special skill, and that cleanses for the entire team. It's only one ailment though, so just keep that in mind. And with these passives, she's an average speed healer, but she's more like very, very, very fast at the beginning of a battle. And if you have Freyawaru and haven't leveled her up because you're not aware of how good she is, start leveling her up and test her out at like 3.70 or something like that and watch how quickly she gets her mana. It is crazy. And those are the heroes that I believe are the top 20 healers in the game right now. Again, today is Saturday, February 21st, and here is the final image that I created with the tier lister on mpuzzle.com. To make things easy on the eye, I really just kind of chose 4 heroes in each tier, and they go from left to right, obviously. So Freyawaru was number 1, Astrid was number 5, Cleopatra was number 9, Fungustine was number 13, and then Milena was number 17. I do also apologize if I said the wrong number for anybody. I was mostly going from memory. I did have a list, but I didn't always reference that list. But this was a different way of me doing a ranking video compared to the graphics that I usually put together. This honestly was a lot easier to do and allowed me to kind of scroll through the special skills and the passives to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Also, let me know what you guys think of this style of a ranking video. And of course, as always, let me know if you think I ranked anybody too high or too low. Let me know who you think I left off this list and who shouldn't be on this list at all. Now is the time to stand up and fight for your heroes, but that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you did enjoy it or found it helpful. And if you did, hit that like button, make sure you're subbed to my channel, and I'll catch you guys next time.